I go to Penn Presbyterian. I did go to Jefferson.
Okay.
I was a past client at Jefferson's.
Okay.
I'm on public assistance with their health, and in 2009, Jefferson stopped taking HMOs from welfare. So I had to find another doctor.
Now, how long were you a patient? Do you remember? Before that happened?
I was there for a while because I knew Jefferson, I would say a good 5 to 6 years.
Okay.
I would say I liked their doctors. I did not like the fact you couldn't drive because I was a driver. I would normally catch the bus, catch the train, get off the 8th and Market and walk, around the block.
Right.
The people were nice. The staff was nice. The elevators was a little slow. I did not like the fact that they stopped taking HMOs. I felt as though the people in my situation were categorized because we were on welfare and receiving state assistance. I felt as though you would rather send us to a clinic than deal with us because we weren't making enough or paying a certain amount of co-pays.
Right.
When I started going to Penn Presbyterian, they always give you a book to tell you to pick. I'm glad I did. Because one thing I was not happy with, when I did go to Penn Presbyterian, you get a physical.
Right.
During the physical, a resident found that I had thyroid cancer. It was a lump in my neck. When I was going to Jefferson, they did not find.
Wow.
So if it wasn't for me going to Penn Presbyterian, it could have been worse. I had the surgery. I had 2 major surgeries and got it removed. So I'm grateful.
Right.
Penn Presbyterian, all their doctors are nice. I have every doctor's email. I have every doctor's phone number. So they get back to me if it's the same night or within 2 days. Parking is not too bad, being as though they built a new facility. I could drive there, and if I was being seen that day, only had to pay $2 for parking, which I loved. Now that they built a new facility across the street at 3737 Market, the parking has went up to $14. I do not like that.
Wow.
So I normally, because I have a handicap, I can go park at the handicap meter.
Okay.
And it's like $5, cheaper depending on the time that I go and I have to be there. Like I said, I'm more closer to my doctors now than I am my other ones. They even call me if I don't come to one I haven't seen in 6 months.
Really? The doctors call with the staff?
The doctors and the staff.
Okay.
And they always call to make sure I'm okay because I have an oncologist. I had a stroke a year ago. So they stay up on me.
Right.
Even though I go, and then I'm in therapy too. So, I have a schedule. They give me a schedule and a time so I can put on my refrigerator. They're real involved in my care. It's they seem like they're part of my family.
When you think of a great community-based program, what comes to mind? It does not have to be health-related.
It's a place that I attend, Drexel Junior University sponsored. It's called the Dormsite Center. And what they do is they have matches with the students and the community. You can go to school free, take classes. They also have computer lab. They have GED programs, and they have different resources for people.
Okay.
So that's what I would think about. They also have a once-a-month community dinner.
The only thing I can say is the center here.
Okay.
Between doing things that they have here that they didn't have before because the center wasn't here, and it's open to the residents. They have workout for the older ladies. They call them movers and shakers. They have Zumba. They have classes for people that got in trouble, expungement classes. I seldomly bring in, like I did today, I had a meeting today, and for people that want to work with steam fitters or with pipe fitters, regardless of background, the information I get, I bring that in here. They have, it's a parent cafe. They have, and they're also adjacent with the NET community, where they do adoptions and stuff in foster care. They had very seldom they had a class for, it's called Fabulous Lifestyles, where it helps you deal with issues that may be in your past, regardless of what they are. It's a confidential class. I was a part of it. It helps you deal with issues from your past so you can move on and live out your full potential.
Okay.
They have the after school program. They have the they have a summer program. They have a work ready program. They do training. People that want to work at ShopRite, they're here during the day. They have a class for that, and then they're on the computers.
Okay.
They have a DHS program for kids, parents that are court ordered and have their children, but you have to go to this class in order to keep them. They're breaking down on. They did a research and found out it's more harmful to the home to snatch them than to work with them and keep the kids in the house and just keep them monitored. They even have child care services, like if you bring your child, they have someone to watch your child. The Million Man March meets here for when they get to, before they actually get to the march, they have their meetings here. Temple comes here, their basketball team, their football team sometimes, to help volunteer, like when they have programs here. We always have a Martin Luther King Day. We always have a breakfast with Santa. And they have they have breakfast, they have face painting, sometimes they have crafts, they have characters come in. Breakfast with Brady, that's been here about 3 or 4 times. There's a lot goes on here.
When it comes to community-based programs offered by Jefferson, which programs are you most familiar with, if any?
No,
I don't know if
I don't know many.
Are you aware of any community-based programs offered by other hospitals?
Nope, they don't advertise down here.
The only thing I can say about that is I always see stuff like on a board, like when everybody walks in and it has some little things you can rip off, or they'll say call this number if you're in this, whether it's fibromyalgia, stroke victims, or if they're doing like a survey, stuff like that, but that's about it. I don't see anything advertised or going out in the mail unless you've actually had this issue.
Do you remember who those flyers are posted by, who those services were offered by? Penn?
Penn.
Okay. What about you, Liz?
I'm thinking Penn also probably Children's Hospital may have something. You know, just thinking back while I'm walking around, things that I may have seen.
Okay. What relationships would you like to see Jefferson establish in the community, and who would be most impacted by this relationship?
I'm trying to think of a nice way to say this, so I would say the less fortunate. Those that don't have the money to participate in programs are automatically included in things because you have a job and your insurance pays this much and you pay a copay,
Right.
and it's more than $1.
What does this program look like in the community? What types of activities could be brought to the community to execute some of these programs to serve the population that you all just described?
Workshops.
People need a lot of Planned Parenthood, a lot of teenagers getting pregnant. All need to be having teenagers getting pregnant.
Okay.
Because a lot of them get pregnant and they have the baby, but their responsibility is falling on the grandparents.
Okay.
That's true.
Well, I'm thinking too about a lot of older people having sex now that are getting diseases.
Yeah, I would say
Because the
that.
older women are sleeping with the younger people when they're just menstruous.
Okay.
And
Well,
that's-
not only that, it's the older guys for the Viagra that a lot of
I'm talking about the older women that's sleeping with the younger guys.
Okay.
The older guys probably do use the Viagra.
But then the young girls, they get their check and they're still spreading stuff. That's my point.
Okay.
Yeah.
So who would be the person at Jefferson or within Jefferson initiating and maintaining these relationships with the community?
That community resource person.
Okay.
There's always an office where someone is complaining, take complaints, or they haven't, whether they had the best confrontation with a doctor or least confrontation. And you know, there's always somebody talking about the good, but there's always somebody complaining. And their whole demographic needs to be taken.
Okay.
I think a lot needs to be done with the homeless people too. I mean, I don't know who would be in charge and who would be responsible, but you see so many people that are homeless and hungry on the street. A lot of people with cups in their hand begging, you know, a lot of people sleeping on the streets. So not to say that the hospital should be responsible, but it maybe should be a department of people who reach out to find out, you know, what's needed, you know, how can we help, what can we do, and then they partner with another organization to assist.
Right. Okay.
There would also be with rehab, because a lot of those people out there begging is just begging for the next high. Because I actually look at them besides the cup. The clothing, you can tell between the clothing. I see people that have clean clothing, fresh haircuts, and you sitting out there with a cup.
In your community, where have you noticed memorable health-related marketing messages, and what were those messages?
I would say here and in the YMCA.
On the bus, that's a.
Because they have like, what do you call it? I wouldn't call it I guess like a little fair where they have different organizations come in and set in, and they give out pamphlets and little free stuff.
Health fair.
Yeah, health fair. And and you can bring the kids as well. They have things to do for kids.
Okay.
And they've had that here as well. They've had it twice.
Well, I wouldn't say necessarily my community, but I know there are lots of advertisements on television and radio, you know, for different types of things that they need.
Okay. Can you recall specifically what those advertisements were for?
Blood drives, organ donors, cancer, especially around breast cancer awareness month,
Okay.
children's something.
Okay. Did those messages compel you to take health action, such as getting a checkup or visiting a certain facility?
I stay up on my health. I mean, since I had cancer, my doctor stay up on me.
Okay.
I get tested every 6 months. So.
What
I would
topic?
say something repetitive after you hear it over and over again, like for instance, breast cancer awareness month. Breast cancer awareness. And you see it over and over again, and they're having more, fight for the cures. They're having more, like a lot of groups, churches, organizations. What makes it effective is the people. You know, the people that it happens to, the women coming together, and that's what I would say. The people caring, the people losing people, and the more you see it, the more you get involved with it. That would be my example.
Okay.
I've seen my sister-in-law, her mother has MS. So it was like having someone that directly is in the path of your family. In Facebook, they're always making aware, always going to be a wall. Just like she said, I piggyback off that, the breast cancer awareness. Because somebody died of cancer or some form of cancer. And when you had that happen, people tend to back that family member or that friend up and participate. It's made more aware through knowing someone that has experienced it.
Okay.
I would also use autism as another example because more and more people are doing different events to make people more aware of autism, even though it's been around. But I hear more about it now.
How can Jefferson most effectively communicate with the African American community?
Advertise more.
They can put the information out. Partnership with different organizations such as the Y, come out into the community, go to the schools.
Okay.
Do a poll, send out a survey, find out what people like, what they're interested in.
Okay.
And get the poll back. And
The schools need more men, I would say first and foremost. And I'm mentioning men because men to show up as teachers, as parents. Also, they need to change their curriculum. They need to put gym programs back into the schools. I mean, that's my personal opinion, you know.
They need updated curriculum.
Mm-hmm.
They need a real gym class. They need updated healthy food, because you got more of our younger children so obese.
Mm-hmm.
And then that comes from the younger parents quickly to feed their kids fast food.
Mm-hmm.
But they need healthy choices, even if it's just in school, it's getting included in their some part of their day.
Also, something I didn't mention, I think that if you start each child in school, in every school, if you start them out with yoga and meditation at the age of 5, that would help around the world with world peace. It would stop them from fighting. It would, teach them to think first. So let's just say that Jefferson was the first hospital to start that. First of all, I know that it's beyond them, but, to get permission to go into, have some of their people go in there and do something like a yoga meditation class for let's just say 10 minutes a day to start off, because when you deal with the children at a young age, then that helps them develop. And instead of, getting up and punching somebody in the mouth like they might have seen mom and dad and cussing people out, they to go in and, work it out. They have an outlet.
Now I'm going to ask you to rate Jefferson's level of communication with the African American community. So I will need a number from each of you. It's on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being very low, 10 being extremely high, and we can start at this end. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how do you rate Jefferson's current level of communication with the African American community?
Last night, 3 or 4.
Okay.
I haven't heard anything from Jefferson, so I'm just saying 1.
Okay.
I'll say
I'm sorry?
10.
Gotcha.
I don't know. I don't really hear much about them either, so I'll be nice and give them the benefit of the doubt and say a 2.
Okay. What 3 words come to mind when you think of your community related to healthcare?
Caring, determined, and consistent.
I'll say attentive. Caring.
Can you
They
think
do
of
have a lot of meetings around. Stuff like that.
what language is primarily used in your community?
English.
English?
English.
Okay. Has Jefferson effectively communicated with your community in the past? If not, what was missing?
I've been here 8 years, and the only communication I got was that I take a buy insurance anymore. So, or the type of HMO. What's missing? Being there for the less fortunate.
Right, yeah.
If you've never been to a Jefferson facility, what factors would increase the likelihood of you visiting Jefferson for care?
Convenient parking,
Yeah, that's a
good doctors. In fact, that would be first and foremost, good doctors,
Okay.
prompt service.
I agree with what she said.
Yeah,
Parking, good doctors, fast service,
Okay.
communication, because there's normally a lack of communication. And only want you there either 15 minutes before or 15 minutes after you have a grace period. And there's a lack of communication when it comes to the doctor not coming in. I feel as though you should be called so you don't have to take that ride there and then have to go back because you're not being seen because they're not there.
Right.
And it's no repercussion. It's just like, okay, they're not here, you have to reschedule. Now, what if the client had to be reimbursed? I think they would make a phone call to say, hey, such and such is not here, we need to reschedule.
If your insurance covered your visit to every hospital in the nation or region, which hospital would you go to for care and why?
Where I go now, University of Preston.
Jefferson, where I'm now, I don't have a problem.
I like Pennsylvania.
I'm comfortable with Penn Preston where I'm going.
Okay.
And it depends on what is going on. I mean, like with what's going on now. Like for instance, I don't have cancer, thank God, but I know I hear a lot of TV advertisement. Cancer Treatment Center of America, and I don't believe that they take everybody's insurance.
They don't.
Yeah, so it depends on what was going on in my life and why they don't take everybody's insurance. You know, they're supposed to be there to help the people.
How can Jefferson most effectively communicate with the African American community?
Partnership with different organizations such as the Y, come out into the community, go to the schools.
Okay.
Do a poll, send out a survey, find out what people like.
That's something I didn't mention. I think that if you start each child in school, in every school, if you start them out with yoga and meditation at the age of 5, that would help around the world with world peace. It would stop them from fighting. It would, teach them to think first. So let's just say that Jefferson was the first hospital to start that. First of all, I know that it's beyond them, but, to get permission to go into, have some of their people go in there and do something like a yoga meditation class for like, let's just say 10 minutes a day to start off, because when you deal with the children at a young age, then that helps